What if everything you thought you knew about Jesus was incomplete? Deep in the mist-shrouded highlands of Ethiopia, ancient monasteries hide secrets that the Western world is only now beginning to grasp. While European councils meticulously trimmed, polished, and canonized the Bible into the 66 books we know today, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church safeguarded a staggering 81 sacred texts, a raw, unfiltered, and vivid mosaic of the divine. These are not minor footnotes. They are revelations that could completely transform how we understand the life, lineage, and power of the Messiah. Could it be that the Jesus Ethiopians have known for millennia is far more extraordinary, more cosmic, more human, and more terrifyingly divine than the figure familiar to the Western imagination? Deep within the mist-shrouded highlands of Ethiopia, perched among jagged cliffs and verdant valleys, ancient monasteries guard secrets that the Western world is only beginning to comprehend. For over 15 centuries, these monasteries, many inaccessible to outsiders, have preserved texts that were excluded from the Western canon during the councils of Rome, Nicaea, and Laodicea between the 4th and 5th centuries CE. While European theologians meticulously trimmed, polished, and canonized the Bible into the 66 books we recognize today, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church safeguarded a staggering 81 sacred texts. These include not only the familiar books of the Old and New Testaments, but also additional works such as the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and the Maccabean, texts considered apocryphal or heretical in Western traditions. This collection represents a raw, unfiltered, and vividly alive mosaic of the divine, offering insight into early Jewish Christian thought that predates much of Western doctrinal development. The Ethiopian Bible preserves details that have been lost in translation elsewhere, including explicit descriptions of Jesus' physical appearance, genealogical lineage tracing back to King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, and prophecies that were suppressed in European councils for their perceived radicalism. For instance, the Book of Enoch, preserved entirely in Ge'ez, the ancient liturgical language of Ethiopia, provides elaborate visions of the Son of Man enthroned before the creation of the world, a detail absent from most Western texts. The Book of Jubilees meticulously documents a day-by-day chronology of creation and patriarchal history, establishing sacred calendars still observed by the Ethiopian Church today. This is not merely an alternate Bible. It is a window into a profoundly different understanding of Jesus, one shaped by centuries of Ethiopian scholarship, devotion, and isolation. From forbidden prophecies to physical descriptions that defy centuries of artistic convention, Jesus is depicted as a man with a sun-darkened complexion, hair like wool, and eyes that burn with spiritual intensity. The Ethiopian Bible offers a breathtaking, radical, and historically anchored portrait of the Messiah. Could it be that Jesus, as Ethiopians have known him for millennia, is far more extraordinary, cosmic, and complex than the figure the Western world has come to envision? Most of the Christian world relies on a 66-book Bible, a carefully curated collection refined and finalized over centuries of Roman and European deliberation. Councils such as Nicaea, 325 CE, Laodicea, 364 CE, and Rome, 382 CE, meticulously debated which texts were orthodox enough to be included, systematically excluding books deemed too obscure, prophetic, or theologically challenging. But in the Horn of Africa, the Orthodox Tewahedo Church never received the memo that the canon was closed. Their Bible, still preserved in its full glory, contains 81 books, a sprawling, unedited archive that makes the King James Version feel almost like a condensed Reader's Digest. These additional 15 books are far from mere footnotes. They are the connective tissue that fundamentally reshapes the biblical narrative. Scholars often refer to this corpus as the 81-book mystery, and for good reason. Unlike the Western canon, which was homogenized to meet political and ecclesiastical agendas, the Ethiopian Bible functions as a living time capsule, a record of early Jewish Christian thought preserved through centuries of isolation in monasteries high in the Simeon Mountains and the Aksumite highlands. While Western councils excised texts considered too strange, too mystical, or too dangerous, Ethiopian scribes safeguarded these writings with unwavering devotion. Among the most significant are the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and the Maccabean. The Book of Enoch, preserved in its entirety in Ge'ez, the ancient liturgical language of Ethiopia, expands the Genesis narrative, describing angelic watchers, cosmic hierarchies, and visions of the Son of Man enthroned long before the world's creation. The Book of Jubilees provides a detailed, almost forensic chronology of creation and the patriarchs, establishing sacred calendars still observed by Ethiopian Christians today. The Maccabean, unique to the Ethiopian canon, emphasizes moral courage and spiritual struggle against idolatry, giving a distinctly African perspective on biblical heroism. These texts are not supplemental, they are foundational. They shape how Ethiopian Christians understand the Messiah, not merely as a historical figure who lived in first-century Judea, but as a cosmic, pre-existent force whose essence intertwines with creation itself. Among these extraordinary treasures, the Book of Enoch stands as the crown jewel of the Ethiopian canon. In much of the Western Christian tradition, Enoch is little more than a shadowy, almost forgotten figure, briefly mentioned in Genesis as one who walked with God before mysteriously vanishing. But in the Ethiopian Bible, he emerges as the central figure of a sweeping cosmic epic, a prophet whose visions illuminate the very architecture of creation itself. Enoch describes the Son of Man enthroned in radiant glory long before the universe came into being, presiding over the celestial hierarchy with a majesty that defies human comprehension. This is no mere biographical aside. It is a theological earthquake, redefining the identity of Jesus. Here, he is not simply a carpenter from Nazareth. He is a pre-existent cosmic force, witnessed and chronicled by an ancient prophet centuries before Bethlehem, whose life Western traditions would later codify in historical narratives. Equally remarkable is the Book of Jubilees, often referred to as the Lesser Genesis, which reconstructs creation and the lives of the patriarchs with astonishing precision. It provides a day-by-day account of sacred history, meticulously detailing genealogies, divine interventions, and a sacred calendar that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church still follows today. In this vision, the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural dissolve. Jesus' miracles are not extraordinary exceptions to the laws of nature. They are restorations of a spiritual order that has always existed, an ancient reality glimpsed by prophets and preserved in sacred texts. The Son of Man in this framework is imbued with immense, almost terrifying power, and the unfolding of human history is seen as a single, uninterrupted thread of divine orchestration, where every event from creation to the Messiah's earthly ministry is part of a cosmic, divinely guided plan. For decades, Mel Gibson has redefined the possibilities of biblical cinema. With The Passion of the Christ, he gave audiences an unflinching, almost unbearably visceral portrayal of suffering, forcing viewers to confront the physical and emotional reality of crucifixion in ways that traditional Sunday school depictions never dared. Yet now, according to reports, Gibson is pushing even further, venturing beyond the physical, into the metaphysical dimensions meticulously preserved in the Ethiopian Bible. Here, Jesus is no longer the gentle, introspective teacher of Western imagination. He emerges as a cosmic sovereign, descending through 7 layers of heaven, shrouded in angelic hosts, navigating the celestial gates with authority and precision. Gibson's cinematic vision echoes the mystical work of 4th-century Ethiopian monks, who, in remote monasteries and the holy city of Aksum, safeguarded texts depicting Jesus not merely as a historical figure, but as a pre-existent, multi-dimensional force whose influence spans creation itself. In these writings, The Messiah's physical presence mirrors his divine intensity. He radiates with blinding, almost uncontainable light. His body emanates celestial fire, a stark contrast to the soft, ethereal visage immortalized in Renaissance art. Yet he is also a man of the earth, sculpted by the harsh Judean sun, hardened by labor, and marked by calluses earned through toil. His eyes are luminous, piercing, and filled with a spiritual authority that can both judge and heal. He embodies a rare duality, warrior and monk, king and servant, descendant of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, a figure whose presence commands not only attention but reverence, capable of bending even the elements to his will. Unlike the Europeanized Jesus of Renaissance art, pale-skinned, soft-featured, and framed by Italian ideals, the Ethiopian Messiah emerges as a figure inseparable from the landscapes and cultures of the Middle East and Africa. In sacred texts such as Tam or Mariam and the hagiographies of Ethiopian saints, he is depicted with a sun-drenched complexion, hair like tightly coiled wool, and skin the color of burnished bronze. Every detail of his rugged appearance speaks to a life lived fully in the physical world, a life that bridges the divine and the human. This is a Jesus shaped by the sun and the soil of Judea and the highlands of Ethiopia, a figure whose presence is as grounded as it is transcendent. Central to this tradition are the Abba Garima Gospels, hidden for centuries in a remote, almost inaccessible monastery perched in the Simeon Mountains. Carbon dated between 330 and 650 CE, these illuminated manuscripts rank among the oldest surviving illustrated Christian texts in the world. Their pages burst with color, vivid indigos, deep emeralds, and ochres, depicting Jesus amid African flora and fauna, a visual testament to a Christ intimately connected to the land and its life. Unlike Western biblical manuscripts, which were heavily edited, standardized, and civilized during the Enlightenment and Reformation, the Garima Gospels retain rhythmic, poetic narratives rooted in Semitic tradition. They tell the story of a faith that was not merely received from Rome or Constantinople. Ethiopia curated, safeguarded, and authored its own unbroken lineage of Christianity, preserving a vision of the Messiah that is at once profoundly human, historically grounded, and majestically divine. At the very heart of the Ethiopian canon lies the Book of Enoch, a text that casts Jesus within a vast, cosmic framework of angels, fallen watchers, and ancient spiritual warfare. Unlike the familiar New Testament narratives, where Jesus is often portrayed primarily as a teacher or healer, the Ethiopian tradition presents him as the ultimate cosmic exorcist, the singular force capable of undoing the catastrophic consequences of the giants, the offspring of illicit unions between angels and humans. In this context, the story of salvation is not limited to Galilee or Jerusalem. It stretches across the heavens and the earth, encompassing a battle that predates humanity itself. Without Enoch, the New Testament reads like a story beginning in mid-thriller. Ethiopia preserves the missing chapters, revealing a Messiah whose authority extends far beyond earthly ministry, whose mission is interwoven with the very architecture of creation. In Ethiopia, the Ark of the Covenant is not a distant relic or a biblical legend. It is a living, sacred presence, said to rest in the chapel of the tablet in Aksum, guarded by the monks who have sworn centuries-long oaths of secrecy. Here, the Ethiopian Bible dissolves the artificial separation between Old and New Testaments, merging them into a single, fluid narrative rhythm. Jesus does not come to abolish the law. He illuminates it, fulfilling it in its deepest, most mystical sense. Through texts such as the Maccabean, he emerges as the ultimate Maccabee, a divine warrior who defends the true law with unwavering courage and righteousness. The Kebra, or divine glory, is not abstract. It is tangible, a force so intense it can crush the unprepared, a spiritual weight that fills the cosmos. In this vision, Jesus himself becomes the living ark, a vessel containing the uncontainable fire of God, a human body imbued with celestial power, radiant with divine authority, and utterly inseparable from the cosmic order he has come to restore. From the meticulously documented lineage in the Kebra Nagast to the apocalyptic visions of cosmic warfare preserved in the Book of Enoch, the Ethiopian canon reveals a Jesus who is at once intensely human and awe-inspiringly divine. He is not only a teacher or healer but a king, a cosmic warrior, and a bridge between the mortal and the celestial. Unlike the Europeanized Christianity shaped by rationalist Enlightenment thought and centuries of doctrinal standardization, the Ethiopian faith is visceral, tangible, and radiant with presence. It is a Christianity forged in the crucible of mountains and monasteries, gritty, ancient, and unapologetically supernatural, preserved for nearly 2,000 years by communities who understood that divinity cannot be sanitized. Here stands a Messiah at the intersection of human history and angelic rebellion, a cosmic warrior king whose life, lineage, and mission were never diluted, edited, or filtered for the comfort of political or theological authorities. In the Ethiopian vision, Jesus is not simply the carpenter of Nazareth. He is a pre-existent force whose authority stretches across creation, whose every action resonates in the heavenly and earthly realms. To trace these profound mysteries, where theology, history, and cosmic narrative converge, one must look to Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has preserved a vision of Jesus that is both more human in his lived experience and more terrifyingly divine in his cosmic authority than any depiction familiar to the Western world. This is a Messiah whose story spans the heavens and the earth, whose presence embodies the deepest, most arcane secrets of creation itself, and whose legacy challenges our understanding of what it means for God to walk among humans. If you want to explore the untold story of the Messiah, the cosmic battles of Enoch, and the ancient wisdom preserved in Ethiopia for nearly 2,000 years, hit that subscribe button. And now, journey with us into the hidden truths that Western history forgot and see the Jesus the world was never meant to know. Don't miss the next chapter. It will challenge everything you thought you knew.